Coming to you from the TheEoNProject studios, overlooking the vast, pristine acreage of Primrose Village. Greetings from this hidden gem of the Blackstone Valley. You're listening to Experts of Nothing with Mike and Jay. Hola!
Hey there, Jay.
Hey, what's up, friend?
Hey, you know, I was you were talking about the pristine acreage of Primrose Village.
Yes.
I was on my way over here this morning. And you know, you have to pass through the dark forests of northern New England or southern New England.
You have to find your way through the emerald forests,
and it was
of
like
this area.
You know, it's a little misty this morning, and as I was driving through the dark forest, I kept thinking I was going to run into a Sasquatch.
Ooh.
You know, we should do a show on Sasquatch.
That would be interesting. You know, Rhode Island's claim to fame was for a while, it was the only state that did not have a recorded Bigfoot sighting.
Yeah.
And then that happened recently, within the past few years, supposedly.
Well, you know,
somebody saw one.
We take that with a grain of salt because we know that there's some people who just create this stuff out of whole cloth. You like that term, whole cloth? I make this out of whole cloth.
What is the phenomenon recently? It's exploded as of, you know, the explosion of the social media.
Exploded of the explosives.
And the camera phones. Yeah. Which would be the selfie.
Oh, yes, the selfie.
Now, I remember as a youth, you know, selfies are nothing new. I mean,
No.
people have been taking selfies as long as there's been cameras.
Yep, sure.
But now, it seems as though everyone has to take the selfie, and you have people that need to be on selfie probation because they take way too many selfies.
Well, you have to wonder at some point, why do you take so many pictures of yourself?
Yeah.
Do you assume that everybody wants to see you that often? Or maybe it's perhaps a desperate plea for attention of some kind?
But not only that, they put these camera filters on.
Yes, they
and
do.
it tricks people into thinking that how they look differently.
And then you see them in real life and you go, you don't look anything like your pictures.
So, with that said, the TheEoNProject, I don't know if you've been following us on Facebook, but Mike and I are going to do a weekly selfie post starting today.
Oh.
Whatever today is.
Is it a selfie of both of us or individually?
Nope, it's going to be you and I and a group. It would be a selfie then. It would be a dually, apparently.
Oh, is that what they call it?
I don't know. Two people in a selfie?
I thought it was selfie no matter how many people were in the picture.
A dual selfie.
Dually.
How's that?
Okay.
All right, so we're going to do something today.
Yeah, we're going to do that later.
All right, what did we talk about?
Oh, so last week we talked about mysterious places. We went around the world. We went to Hungary.
Yeah.
We went to Florida. Hungary and Florida about the same.
Kind of.
And then we went to a few other places. We talked about some mysterious places. We talked about my underwear drawer and how it was mysterious.
How mysterious and awful, actually.
And booby-trapped. And we talked about some other things. Today, to tease the topic for today, we're going to be talking about mysterious murders.
Ooh.
Unsolved.
Unsolved deaths.
Well, not just that. Not just unsolved, but I think all of the things that we're going to talk about today have some sort of creep factor to them that make them a little bit more interesting and creepy. And, you know, you look at them. Some of them are well known. Some of them you may not have heard before.
Yeah, definitely not.
So it should be a good show.
It should be quite interesting.
You know, I also on my way over here.
Yes.
You ever been listening to the radio and then you hear a radio jingle for a business, right? And the radio jingle, it's in a song form, as they typically are.
Sure.
And they try to force something that is not melodically pleasant into the jingle.
Yes.
To make it sound...
An example of what you mean.
An example would be, you know, okay, it's a tune and it's going like this. Yeah. Come to Gustavo's Taxidermy. And you're like, Gustavo's Taxidermy?
Yes.
You know, if you have a name that sounds like that, you have to force it into a jingle.
That reminds me of you know, there's a local area here called Block Island.
Oh yes,
I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Block Island, yes.
It's out in the ocean. It's a summer getaway for people.
I've never been.
And there's a jingle that comes across the radio during the summer months.
Yes.
You know, trying to get people to come down there. And it's a guy, and he's singing calypso music.
It's a guy or a girl?
Maybe it's a girl.
I think it's a girl.
And they're like, "Come away on the Block Island ferry,
and they try to
to Block Island."
They try to calypso it out.
And there's like a steel drum going.
Yeah.
It's like you're not going to the Caribbean. You're going out into the.
You're going to New England waters.
New England, the Atlantic,
where
the cold Atlantic waters that are taken over by sea creatures and things.
If you use that Shakespearean accent on anything, it makes it sound more foreboding.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was uneventful. I did drink an enormous amount of wine. I'm not a wine drinker.
You did? Did you drink it in a fluted glass or a tall wine glass?
No, just a regular run-of-the-mill wine glass.
Like a long-stemmed glass?
You know what I found out?
What?
That after you drink red wine, if you drink a lot of red wine, when you go to the bathroom the next day...
No, not good.
Not good.
It's like hot tar.
Seems like everything comes out of the red wine.
And you get nervous about it because you don't
You don't
remember
know if
what
you're
happened. And
you don't know
look
if you're
and like,
dying.
oh my god!
Yeah.
Why is it black?
I don't know. Anyway,
But I heard if you drink wine out of the longer the stem, the more sophisticated you are.
oh, is that true? It just makes you more sophisticated.
Yep.
Doesn't make your bowel movements any less
No,
disgusting.
that's definitely not.
Anyway,
Okay.
so this week we're going to talk about some mysterious deaths. We're going to go around the world where we're going to hear about these things, and hopefully you've heard about some of them. Hopefully you have not heard of others, because we find them to be exceedingly interesting. So anyway, have you ever been to Rio de Janeiro?
Twice last year.
Did we talk about Rio de Janeiro before?
No,
We have not.
I don't think so.
It's in Brazil.
Brazil.
Where the do you know the national language of Brazil, sir?
It's Portuguese.
That's correct. It is Portuguese. I wonder why that is. Probably because Portuguese explorers
That's correct.
visited the area.
That's right.
Long ago.
Yes, and there are a lot of plump and bronzed women there.
Plump? They're not plump.
I didn't mean it like that.
Anyway, so there's there's a lot of weird things that happen in Rio de Janeiro, but very few are as strange as what happened on August 17th, 1966.
Oh.
What were you doing?
I was crocheting a pair of ladies' slippers and wearing nothing but a bowler hat.
That's probably correct.
Yep.
Anyway, August 17th, 1966, some weirdness happened near Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Two electronics repairmen from Campos dos Goytacazes. Don't ask me to say that
Oh,
again.
this 60s electronics Brazilian repairman.
Two electronics repairmen left town saying they were going to buy supplies for work and a car.
Oh, it was a big spending day.
They supposedly had a lot of money with them to buy this car, and some people had seen them, and these whereabouts have been confirmed.
Okay.
We're going to get that in a moment. So this is what they were going to do. So the men, Miguel Jose Viana and Manuel Pereira de Cruz,
Oh, good accent.
later stopped by at a bar to get a bottle of water. So this is
Oh, I don't believe this story already.
yep, 1966. They got a bottle of water, and it was the bottle of water becomes important later.
Did they even sell bottles of water in 1966?
As a matter of fact, that's a great question, and I thought of the same thing. It was a glass bottle,
like a
and,
Perrier?
yeah, and they were supposed to bring it back.
Oh, like
So-
a returnable one.
Yeah, it was like a returnable.
Yeah.
They didn't have the plastic bottles back
see.
then, 1966. So the men, they bought a bottle of water, and the bartender later said that Miguel appeared to be in a hurry, and he was frequently checking his watch. You know, he's in a hurry. You know, you always keep looking
Yep.
at your watch. Nowadays, people look at their phones.
Yep.
So that was the last anyone saw of the pair alive.
Ooh.
3 days later, Jorge de Costa Alves found the bodies of the men on nearby Vietnam Hill in Rio de Janeiro. Now, here's where it gets weird.
Okay.
Both men were dressed in suits, which is, not entirely weird.
Okay. Were they wearing suits earlier when people
Yeah,
saw them?
they were wearing suits at the
they
bar.
were? Okay.
Yep. But they were found on a hill, so like in a wooded area.
So they're well-dressed electricians.
Yes. They were also both wearing waterproof coats, like raincoats, but it was not raining.
Okay.
Okay. They both, here's where it becomes bizarre. Both had lead eye masks with no holes on their faces,
So-
as one would wear to protect them from radiation.
Oh.
So like a lead,
Yes.
to cover your face,
Yep.
that sort of thing. And they didn't have eye holes, so when you have it on, you can't see.
Of course not.
Also, there was an empty water bottle, again, the water bottle, 2 towels, and a notebook. The notebook contained some cryptic messages in Portuguese. Translated, here's what the messages said. 1630, again, this is military time. They're using military time, which you use, a lot of people don't know why you use military time. People use military time because of precision,
Exactly.
so that you can know exactly what time it is.
you can't confuse 2 a.m. with
Nope.
2 p.m.
That's right. So anyway, here's what the notebook said. 1630, be at agreed place. 1830, swallow capsules. After effect, protect metals, wait for mask signal.
What
What do you make of that?
What is going on here?
I don't know. So you're probably asking yourself, how were they killed? Or how were they die? How did they die? How did these two people die?
I am actually.
As to the cause of death, it has never been determined.
They couldn't figure out what killed them?
No signs of trauma, which would indicate some kind of like a poisoning or some sort
Sure.
of natural event or something, or unnatural event. And also, given the fact that they wrote "swallow capsules" in their notebook,
Yeah.
would indicate that they had been, poisoned themselves
Like,
or
is
something.
cyanide traceable? Like if you ingested it?
Well, here's the thing. They would normally have done a toxicology report, but no toxicology report was performed because evidently someone lost their internal organs. So someone at the Rio de Janeiro coroner's office
Yep.
lost the organs. I hope they didn't make their way into the local food chain.
Well, it's like when they lost the brain of John F. Kennedy.
That's
they
correct.
Still never found that.
Yeah, that was just lost, I'm sure. That had nothing to do with anything.
Nothing.
So let's examine the evidence found. And I want your opinion on this.
Okay.
We're going to try and solve this mystery. The men were wearing suits.
Suits? What kind of suits? Like
business suits.
Oh.
So maybe they were meeting someone?
Yep. Yeah.
They were wearing rain gear.
But you said they had a large sum of money as well.
That's correct. They did have a large sum of money. They were found wearing raincoats. Why? They were found with 2 towels. What's the towel? What are the towels for?
Well, they were hanging out by the hotel pool.
Okay. After the bodies were discovered, some interesting facts began to emerge about the men, and this is where it kind of leads right into our show.
Oh, okay.
Why we do this show.
Yes.
Supposedly, these 2 men were UFO and paranormal enthusiasts.
Oh, so they were into the esoteric.
Yes. So maybe they were trying to conduct some kind of experiment.
Like summoning a UFO?
Exactly, like summoning a did you look at my notes?
No,
that's on my notes.
I'm sorry, I'm just intelligent.
Like they're trying to summon a UFO of some kind. The victims were said to be very intrigued by mysteries of flying saucers, and they researched them extensively, and supposedly had even built a small laboratory for the purpose of studying UFO phenomenon.
Or in America, a laboratory.
Also, Vientum Hill where they were found, had been something of a UFO hotspot, with strange hovering craft being seen on a regular basis by the townsfolk.
Yes.
Some even say that in the very day that the 2 men went missing, there were a lot of UFO sightings in the area. Mm-hmm. So what happened to these dudes? Also, well, you pointed out, the money that supposedly they had was gone.
It was gone.
Yeah.
Okay. They
So-
spent it on lead masks.
What do you think happened?
I think that they went out for a secret Brazilian sexual adventure.
Love tryst?
Yep.
Okay.
And they got caught up in some weird secret triangle of love.
You know what I think?
What?
I think somebody probably fed them a story about a series of tasks that they needed to accomplish for some sort of goal, whether it was to see a UFO or to engage in time travel or something stupid like that, because they knew that they had money and they were dumb.
Yep.
And they led them up there, led them to take poison, and then stole their money. If I had to guess, that's probably what happened.
It's kind of an intricate way to go about stealing someone's money, though.
Yeah, but if you know somebody has a lot of money, they're into UFOs, maybe they're very gullible. It wouldn't be so hard to construct a story that would lead someone to do these. Maybe they told them, if you take these pills, you put this lead mask on, the UFO will land, and you can go on there. You can go to another planet. You can. It
would take a lot of thought and preparation on the part of the perpetrator, though. You know?
But they made off with a lot of money.
How much money?
Well, they didn't say.
Okay.
They didn't say exactly how much money. But the case is still unsolved to this day. Nobody knows what killed the men.
Nobody knows.
Nope.
What happened to the men? Did they have a funeral? Did they bury them?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't get to that part.
Oh.
I don't know what happened to them.
So that was the mysterious death of the 2 Portuguese Brazilians.
The lead mask mystery is what they call it.
Oh. Well, that is interesting. Yeah. And we'll never know, because it happened so long ago, 50 years ago, if you will.
Yes.
51 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, time goes by so fast.
Doesn't it?
You're getting old.
I was just thinking that the other day. I am getting old.
You know what, though? You got to do what I'm doing.
What are you doing?
You gotta get out there. I don't know if you do this or not. You got to get out there. You got to be active. You got to go back into the gym.
I've tried doing that.
I'm trying to set personal bests when it comes to weightlifting at an old age. And, I've been running a lot.
Be careful you don't drop it on yourself.
Actually, I did last week.
Really?
Actually, what's today? No, it was Sunday. My son and I went to the gym. I took him with me.
Okay.
He's a little guy, but he comes anyway. And I was lifting some weights, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go for a new personal best. Over the age of 40, I should say. When I was younger, I could lift a lot more. But.
You wanted him to spot you, did you?
So I put a bunch of weights on the barbell, and I get down there for the old bench press, and it can be a dangerous exercise. Sure. So I told my son to stand over me, and if
what's he gonna do? Wave his hands?
If I start to struggle, pull on the bar as hard as you possibly can.
That was probably a poor plan. Now that
it was. So I went ahead and I lifted the bar off, and I started to lower it towards my chest. Mm-hmm. Got to the bottom. And realized I was going to struggle getting it up. So I started putting it up.
I've heard that about you.
I got it about halfway, and then my eyes began bulging out of my head, and I had my son try to help me. He could not help me.
I'm sure he couldn't help you because he's a young man and he's slight of build.
He couldn't get it up, so I had to put it back down to my chest. I cleared him out of the way. I told him to run to the other side of the gym.
Run! Daddy's about to pass away.
I went hard left and hard right and dumped the weights
You
everywhere.
dumped the weights, did you? Oh, that's got to be embarrassing.
It was embarrassing, but...
You're not going to reveal how much weight was on the bar. No, I wouldn't do that. No, I wouldn't do that.
So it was a bar with a couple small...
Did it have like 10-pound weights on it?
That's it. No. So it was scary.
Well, thank you for that extra special little glimpse into your life.
Well, speaking of scary, we're going to get into the next topic, if I will.
Sure.
If I may, if you will.
No, you will.
So this one is interesting because, I like to think that I've heard a lot about the different things around the world and different murders and things and mysterious things that have happened. But this one I've never heard of, and I don't know why. And it should be more talked about, I think, and brought to the...
That's why we're talking about it today.
To the forefront. It actually has two names. It's called... the gentleman, they gave him the moniker, the Cleveland Torso Murderer.
Ooh.
Cleveland Torso Murderer.
Torso Murderer.
Yes.
Ew.
Doesn't that sound ominous?
Sounds gross.
How did they not make a movie about this?
They probably have.
But he's also known as the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run.
See, that's better.
That sounds more like an English...
That's exactly what I was thinking.
English
That sounds
killer.
like an English killer.
It is the Mad Butcher of
He was
Kingsbury Run.
He was near the River Thames.
He was near the river. He would take people into the darkness and cut them up into pieces.
That was terrible.
That was bad?
Yeah.
Oh. So anyway, who was he and what did he do?
I don't know.
He was an unidentified serial killer who killed and dismembered at least 12 victims in the Cleveland area
Cleveland.
in the 1930s.
Well, I've been to Cleveland, and it can drive anyone to want to kill someone.
I love the people of Ohio. Cleveland is not a nice city.
No, it's dirty and ugly.
I drove through there. I drove past the Great Lake there,
It's full of mean people, too.
and I drove through the heart of Cleveland during rush hour traffic one time,
Why'd you do that?
and my car began to overheat. I got nervous. I thought I was going to die in the midst of Cleveland, but I made it through.
You made it because you're here today.
I did. So what did he do? Well, he killed a bunch of people and he dismembered them. So basically, his official number of murders attributed to him is 12. However, there are other victims that they think may have gone up as high as 20 or even more, and they were killed between the years of 1935 and 1938. And I don't know why, but the 20s and 30s are a creepy decade.
Well, let me ask you this, and
me.
You probably won't get to this later, but people tend to think and believe that we live in an age now of extreme depravity, where people do things, disgusting things that have never been done. But it's all been done before.
It's been done.
It's just you haven't heard about it, or it was happened too long ago, or whatever. But people have been
That's right.
weirdos forever.
Absolutely. So the victims of this torso murderer are usually drifters. And as we all know, drifters make the easiest targets.
Like
really.
hobos.
Hobos. We talked about hobos before.
And they're hobo beans.
Eating beans on the train.
Nope.
Nobody really cares much about the hobo.
I like hobos. I think they're cool.
That's why a lot of them, they kill the hookers and easy targets. What was that?
Some strange
Thanksgiving
banging.
coming back to haunt us?
It wasn't me.
Oh. So
You made a yummy sound.
there were only a few exceptions. There were a couple of people who were considered, working class, working poor folks of the Cleveland Flats and the shanty towns.
the shanties.
The ramshackle shanty towns in the area.
Go back to your shanties.
And of course, being that it was the Depression and all, it wasn't.
Everybody was depressed.
It was depressed. There wasn't a lot of work going around.
Sure.
And so there were a lot of victims to be had. So the torso murderer, he always basically beheaded and often dismembered his
We talked
victims.
about it before. It's deheaded.
Yeah, you're removing someone's head.
It's not beheaded. It's
Because
deheaded.
if it was beheaded, you'd be adding another
That's correct.
head.
You're adding an extra head.
That's right. He'd cut a lot of the torsos in half.
Ew.
Hence the torso murderer moniker.
Moniker.
So you wonder why he did that, right? So he'd cut them in pieces.
I would like to know why.
He'd cut them in various pieces. And most of the male victims, were actually castrated, which you know what that means.
I do know what that means.
Yeah, that's not anything to be...
It's not pleasant.
No. And the victims showed evidence of chemical treatments being applied to their bodies.
Like what?
Yeah, different types of chemicals to treat them.
What?
Like mummifying them.
Not treat them like to help them get better, but to like make the bodies more something.
I guess.
Okay.
But so the victims were found some of them were found after a considerable period of time. Some even more than a year, which of course made identification more, difficult, if you will.
Okay.
So during that time of the official murders, a gentleman by the name of Elliot Ness.
Oh, Elliot Ness.
I don't know if you've heard of him or not.
I have.
He held the position of public safety director of Cleveland.
Was this before or after the Al Capone case?
This was actually after that.
So he was world famous at this point.
Yeah. He actually had little to do with the investigation.
You ever see that movie, The Untouchables?
It was a good movie.
With Kevin Costner and Sean Connery.
I love Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Yeah, he takes out a knife, you take out a gun.
Do you mind if I shit here?
You put one of his in the hospital,
You put one of
his in the morgue.
That's the Chicago way.
Anyway, the reason I bring it up was, number one, it was good. It was a Brian De Palma film.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Andy Garcia was in it. Robert De Niro famously put on a bunch of weight to play Al Capone. But the most striking thing to me about that whole movie was the outfits. They had some styling ass suits, man.
Oh, yeah.
They looked great.
What do you call those things? Are they called shoe cuffs? Those things that go over the shoe?
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
it's like a white,
yeah.
like a doily that goes over the top of the shoe.
I don't know what that is. It's to
What is
protect
that?
the shoe, or I don't know.
It
I know what
looks
you're
so
talking about.
swanky, though. I like that.
Anyway, you know, Armani, actually, Giorgio Armani provided the wardrobe for that movie.
He did.
So everybody looked smoking.
Well, you're known for your knowledge of the
Style.
fashion world.
That's correct. I am a style aficionado.
Yeah. So going back to Elliot Ness, if I will, he did contribute to the arrest and interrogation of one of the prime suspects, and one of those suspects was a man by the name of Dr. Francis Sweeney,
He was a doctor.
as well as he was also involved in the demolition and the burning of the Kingsbury Run, from which the killer took his name, or took his victims from, rather, and the name came from.
Okay, it sounds like a bowling alley.
Kingsbury Run.
Let's go over to Kingsbury Run and throw a few frames.
So apparently, much like a lot of serial killers do, he taunted the detectives.
Yeah, why they always we talked about that on a previous show. Why
Yeah.
they always taunt the police?
because they think they're smarter than law enforcement. Hey, they just captured a serial killer.
Yes, they did. Tampa,
Yeah, down in Florida there.
Seminole County.
He only killed 4 people. Actually, he wasn't very bright.
No, he was on camera a bunch of
He
times.
was on camera. All he did, he shot his victims at the bus stop.
Well, actually, did you hear where they caught him? And I forget his name. I didn't prepare for this, but he was found at his job at McDonald's.
Well, apparently he gave a gun to the manager.
Yeah, he was working at McDonald's, and they found he had a gun, and they called the police, and it turns out he's a serial killer.
That's right. So as I said, the killer taunted Ness, and he placed the remains of 2 victims in full view of the office in City Hall.
Wow,
Elliot
that's
Ness's
pretty
office.
ballsy.
That takes some, yeah. So on August 24th, 1939, a Cleveland resident named Frank Dolezal, no relation to Rachel
Dolezal
was arrested as a suspect in Florence Perillo's murder, who was killed, obviously.
Florence was mean.
And he later died under suspicious circumstances at the Cuyahoga County Jail.
Oh, I wonder what happened to him at the Cuyahoga County Jail.
He was killed.
Right, yeah, I see that.
He was apparently that he was discovered to have 6 broken ribs,
He must have fallen.
different injuries. Yeah, so
He fall on a fist several hundred
sounds like
times.
some jailhouse justice to me. So let's talk a little bit more about Frank Sweeney.
Let's talk about
Francis.
Frank.
He was a doctor. Dr. Francis Sweeney. He was a veteran of World War I. So the trench warfare and the fields of France.
He inhaled a bunch of mustard gas.
Yeah. So he was assigned to a medical unit that conducted amputations and different battlefield
Grossness.
different things that they would do to take care of the wounded on the battlefield. So Sweeney was later personally interviewed by Mr. Ness, who, of course, as we know, was quite the intrepid investigator.
Elliot
You know what the
Ness.
ironic thing about Elliot Ness is? He died of alcoholism.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he was fighting prohibition.
Well,
back
the
in
ironic
day.
the ironic thing about the whole investigation into Al Capone, one of the most notorious murderers of his age, was that he was ultimately convicted of tax evasion, as most people know, and died in prison of syphilis.
That's right.
Anyway,
So Sweeney is said to have failed to pass 2 very early polygraph testing machines.
you ever taken a polygraph?
I haven't taken one, but I've been in classes where they've implemented their instruction.
I've taken a polygraph on 2 occasions, and I won't tell you why. Very, very strange experience, I have to tell you. And I don't understand the science of it completely. And I think a lot of it is really the instinct of the person that's doing it. I don't know that it's 100% infallible, because there's a lot of different factors. We won't talk about it in specific detail, but it's an interesting process to say the least.
So apparently Sweeney died in a veterans hospital in Dayton, Ohio in 1964, but they could never pin the murders on him. He was never tried or convicted of the murders at all, and so he got away with murder.
Why do they think it was him?
Well, they had some. Well, aside from the polygraph that he failed or failed to pass,
Right.
they had some circumstantial evidence that led them to him, but
Okay.
they could never really pin it on him, so to speak. But yeah, so the butcher, if you will, went around killing people, cutting them up, beheading them. Sometimes they'd find the bodies. Sometimes they'd find no head. Sometimes they'd find pieces of torso.
Yeah.
They'd find limbs floating down the river.
So do you think, whenever there's a case like this, you have to wonder why the person was dissecting the bodies? Was that something that they did out of anatomical curiosity, as maybe as a doctor would, like Jack the Ripper? They assume had some sort of medical training, or is just because it's easier to dispose of a body when it's in pieces rather than when it's a whole body?
I think you answered your question. I think there are various reasons why.
There's different reasons why
people do that. I think what strikes me the most about any serial killer, and I read into serial killers and I like to learn about their little bit of their mindset, is what makes them start killing people to begin with.
Right.
Usually it's a gradual process, right? They start doing things. They start pushing the envelope a little bit more.
Well, there's usually a precipitating event of some kind that leads them down that path. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Good.
So I think we're at the halfway part of the show, and we're going to completely go away from this topic for a little while.
Oh, we're diverting off the rails here
because we are we're in late November now, but we are at the start of the Christmas season.
People putting up the trees.
Yep.
The lights and things.
Yep. So we're going to have an interesting halfway show, halftime show.
That's right.
We should just start calling it the halftime show because we do it at the halftime.
We do a lot of different things at the halfway.
We do, and people seem to enjoy the variety. If we did the same thing every week, no one would like it. Yep. So we do different things. And today we're gonna do something associated with Christmas songs. Yay, Christmas songs!
Here's the intro. All right, so that intro goes right into what we're going to be doing today.
All right, why don't you explain it?
So, not only do we love Christmas, not only do we love Christmas music, Christmas songs, but we like rap music.
Yeah, we do?
Yeah, as could be evidenced by the great intro by the great Run DMC.
Yes. Widely considered to be one of the first successful hip-hop bands.
Yeah, Run DMC, their DJ, Jam Master Jay, never got the props he deserved in the title. It was Run DMC.
Yeah, but everybody knows Jam Master Jay.
Yeah, he was killed tragically.
I was going to say, didn't he die recently?
Yeah,
fairly recently.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Christmas songs, and we're going to put our own little twist on it. It's kind of like a little rap battle. So you got to take a song and you got to turn it into a rapping Christmas ballad.
Does the other person have to guess what it is, or we're just going to roll with it and just present it as it is?
All right, we'll present it, and the other person will attempt to guess it.
Well, it's going to be pretty easy, but we'll go with that.
All right, so Mike is going to go first.
Here we go.
And he's going to do it. All right. Do you need a beatbox, or how do you want to do this? You want a beatbox for you?
Yeah, why don't you beatbox? Because that would add a little bit of flavor to the whole thing.
Right, let's see if I can do this.
You ready? Yeah. I really can't stay, baby, it's cold outside. I gotta go away, baby, it's cold outside. This evening's been really hoping you drop in, so very nice. I'll hold your ice there just like ice. My mother will start to worry, be in a hurry. My father will be pacing the floor, listen the fireplace roar. But I better be scurry. People be beautiful, please don't hurry. Maybe be a drink one more. Put some records on while I pour. Yeah!
Oh, man.
That was pretty good.
That was good. What is that?
That's Baby It's Cold Outside.
Oh.
You know the famous duet?
Baby, it's cold outside.
Interesting thing about that song. It's actually we refer to it in my home as the date rape song.
How is that?
Well, the man he's clearly not taking no for an answer from this poor woman who's just trying to leave his apartment in the middle of a snowstorm. He won't let her go. He's plying her with adult beverages to make it, impossible for her to leave. He's impairing her judgment. He won't let her go. He's touching her hands. What is going on here?
Yeah, I don't know.
He needs to be investigated, this man.
Sounds like it.
Anyway.
That was good.
Thank you.
I like that. All right.
I
think I'm up.
Okay, so you're going to go next.
I'm going to do it.
You mean on beatbox?
Yeah, give me something. Oh, yeah, give me a beat, baby. What you got? A thrill of hope, so we're rejoicing, for yonder breaks a new glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh hear the angels' voices. Oh night divine, oh night when Christ was born. Night divine, oh night divine. Night divine, oh night divine. A thrill of hope, the weary road rejoices, for yonder breaks a new glorious morn. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh holy night, oh holy night, oh holy night, oh holy night. What was that?
Oh, holy night!
Yeah!
Yay! I guessed it.
Ha!
Hooray!
All right, that was good. Oh, which one are you gonna do now? Oh, don't tell me.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm ready to go. Are we doing one more each?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Hopefully we're not making everybody angry.
All right. So, all right, I gotta think of a new beat.
Okay, think of a new beat. Come, they told me about rubber pump pump. A newborn king to see by rubber pump pump. I find his gifts we bring ba pump pump to labor for the king ba rum ba pump pump. Rum ba pump pump ba pump ba pump pump to honor him ba rum ba pump pump. When we come ba rum ba pump pump. Little baby ba rum ba pump pump. I'm a poor boy too ba rum ba pump pump. I got no gift to bring ba rum to the king. Ba rum ba play for you my drum.
Oh, little drummer boy.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so we got one more.
One more. Here we go.
This one, you might be able to get this one.
Okay, here we go.
All right, give me that slow beat, baby. Dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas with every Christmas card I write. May your days be berry, not berry, but bright, berry and bright. May all your Christmases be white, 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 white. All right, stop, collaborate and listen. This is back with a snowy invention, yeah!
Well, I gotta be white. White Christmas.
You got it.
Yay!
Oh man, that was good.
You know, I hope everybody else in the audience enjoyed that as much as we like doing it.
I think they can appreciate the rhythmic nature of that.
Well, let me just slight public service notice. No rehearsal on that.
Nope, none.
We didn't even prepare for that at all.
No.
We had the lyrics and we just kind of went with it.
Kind of went with it.
You know, we're really talented people.
You know,
We should be more famous than we are.
and we're ugly though. That's the problem.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know. We've both been able to attract wives, and people don't run when we walk down the street. They don't run from us.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe we're not as unattractive as you think we are.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, should we move back to our topic?
We
now
should.
That we're done with
Let's,
the Christmas
let's
show?
get back onto the mysterious murders and deaths and things.
Okay, so now that we get some silliness out of the way, I'm going to talk about something that has a slightly downturn, and that's because this involves the death of a child, which is never funny.
No, not fun.
But this is an interesting case, and the reason I wanted to bring it up today is because a lot of people don't know about it, and it's an enduring mystery, actually, from recently, that a lot of people, like I said, might not know. October 8th, 2009, so fairly recently.
Yes.
The Jameson family, 44-year-old Bobby Dale Jameson, 40-year-old Sherry Jameson, and 6-year-old Madison Jameson went missing. They were last seen alive when they're out looking for property that they were planning to buy outside of Eufaula, Oklahoma. So this is down in Oklahoma. 9 days later, their pickup truck was found abandoned. Okay. Pickup truck found abandoned, young family.
So they went missing.
The vehicle contained all of the Jamesons' personal belongings, including their dog, which was incredibly malnourished but was still alive.
Oh, he was alive.
Yep. So after being missing for several days, the dog was alive. And actually, I did some follow-up, and the dog is still, well, I don't know. At last check, he was still okay.
Okay.
So he's still around. Their cell phones were inside the vehicle, along with their wallets, their IDs, and a bag with $32,000 in cash in it.
Just in the vehicle?
In the vehicle.
Oh.
The remains were not found until 4 years later, when two hunters found them in an isolated area. So, and it was several miles away from where the truck was found. So, because the bodies had been exposed to the elements for so long, for 4 years, it was impossible to determine a cause of death. They were all found together.
So there was no blunt force trauma.
No, well, you couldn't tell.
It was hard to tell.
They're correct. So there's several theories that try to figure out, what happened to this family. So obviously, one of the first things that comes to mind, is probably because you're a trained investigator, would be the fact that they had a large sum of money on them. Who drives around with $32,000 in cash? Do you do that?
I have some in my pocket.
If you did, I would rob you. So it was suspected that maybe the family was involved with drugs. And there's another reason for that here that I'll get to in a moment. Well, actually, so the adults in the family had been seen emaciated and looking weird before they had disappeared, leading many to believe that they were involved in drugs like methamphetamine or something like that.
That's big down there.
Here's a second theory involved. It involved the father's father, Bobby's father, Bob Jameson. His name was Bob, too. A lot of Bobs down there in Oklahoma.
Billy Bob's, yeah.
So Bobby, the kid, had sued his parents over a property that he claimed that he owned after working at the family business. It became really heated and stuff. And the Jamesons had to get a protective order against Bob Jameson because he had twice threatened to kill them.
Yep.
And he was known as a bad guy, the father, Bob Jameson. And actually, there was some rumors that he was involved in the Mexican Mafia. You ever hear of the Mexican Mafia?
Would that be... Well, yeah, I have. I don't know the official name.
La M.A. Oh. Anyway, so, however, at the time of the disappearance, Bob Sr. was sick and not physically able to kill anybody. He was resting and convalescing.
I see.
From some sort of prolonged illness. But here's where it gets, obviously, it's not a funny thing at all to have a family of 3 die. But here's an interesting theory about how it may have happened and how it relates to our show. So there's some theory that the family was involved with cults, witchcraft, and evil spirits. And I'm going to get into that.
Okay.
So during the initial investigation, before the bodies were found, so they're just missing at this point, the family's pastor, Gary Brandon, told police that the Jamesons had been involved in spiritual warfare. Both Bobby and Sherilyn claimed to have seen spirits in their home belonging to a family who had died long ago. Daughter Madison, who was the little girl, claimed to speak with the spirit of a child who had died in the home. Bobby actually asked his pastor for special bullets to shoot the spirits with. Whoa. And he claimed that he consulted with a satanic Bible.
Like bullets soaked in holy water?
Yeah. Oh. And he claimed to consult a satanic Bible to exorcise the property. So he's probably going about this the wrong way at this point. He's thinking about ways that he can shoot ghosts with special bullets.
Sounds to me like somebody's, they're kind of losing their...
Yeah, and he's using a satanic Bible to exorcise. It doesn't usually work well. Sherilyn, the mother, was also very interested in witches. And she and a friend had bought witches' Bibles supposedly as a joke, which the police found when searching the Jameson property. The friend's name was Mickey Shenhold.
Oh.
Nikki. It's Nikki.
Nikki or Mickey?
It's Nikki.
Oh, okay.
So supposedly Nikki was Sherilyn's best friend but actually said that the house was haunted. The Jameson house was haunted. She said, "Once I was in the living room and this sort of gray mist descended down the stairs. It really scared me." This is what she told to a paper. She also said that the husband, Bobby, who was usually a gentle soul, once came after her with eyes completely dead and black like he was possessed.
Oh.
And the woman would leave notes around the house that said things like, "Get out, Satan." Things like that. So after the family disappeared, and they were looking for him, the investigators, as I said, they visited the Jameson property, did a search. They found written on the wall of a container on their property a very strange message that said, "3 cats killed to date by people in this area. Witches don't like their black cats killed." What does that mean?
So they were witches.
Well, that's what you would think, right?
Yeah.
They were identifying as witches
right.
at some point. So obviously there's an occult aspect to this.
Sure.
So Sherilyn's mother, the missing woman's mother, was questioned. She blamed a cult for the murders. She wouldn't say which cult it was, but she said that they operated in southwest Oklahoma. So no one's quite sure what she meant by that.
Is it? Can I add a theory? Is it possible that they were just obviously either drug induced or mentally deficient for some reason?
Yeah.
They went out into the wilderness and just wandered off into the countryside.
Yeah, I mean, and it's possible. And unfortunately, they had a little girl with them, and if, as you said, or maybe they overdosed and died, and the little girl, unfortunately, she can't go anywhere by herself. She's going to stay with her parents,
right? And
she's going to die of exposure or dehydration.
Yeah, because I mean, all 3 were found together.
They were all found together. There was no evidence of foul play.
Right.
All the stuff was found in their truck.
You'd think if it was
some sort of occult murder, they would have taken the money.
They would have definitely taken something.
Or they would have staged it in some sort of occult manner, which none of that was evident.
Right.
So you're probably right. It probably was a case where either drugs or mental illness or both played a part in these.
Is this the one where there's a surveillance video of them packing up their
truck?
Yeah,
that's correct. There is. There's a surveillance video, and they're seen kind of moving trance-like through the video,
just back and forth.
Also strange, they found on the cell phone of the husband. They found a picture that was supposedly time-stamped the day of the disappearance, showing the little girl. Mm-hmm. And to many who look at it, and I don't know, I've looked at it a few times, it shows the girl looking terrified. It doesn't look terrified to me. It looks like a little girl maybe playing or doing... It's tough to tell by one picture. But some people point to that as evidence that there was foul play involved because who took the picture... So it's a lot of weird things.
Could they tell where the picture was taken, like by the background and stuff, or no?
It was in the woods. So they figure it was taken right before whatever happened to them happened.
And the phone was found in the vehicle?
Correct.
Okay.
But they were found a few miles away from the vehicle. So you say, well, your first instinct was probably correct. They probably wandered away from their vehicle without any supplies or anything, and then unfortunately died.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, it's sad and tragic and unsolved to this day.
Yes, but I think it's funny. Not funny. I think it's interesting the whole paranormal aspect of it because people try to find an excuse for everything, and they're trying to pin it on. In this case, some people are trying to pin it on occult events and things like that. And you're like, I don't know where they get all that from.
Sure,
but who knows?
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the mysterious death of Charles Chuck Morgan.
Chuck Morgan sounds like a cool dude.
Charles Morgan, isn't that a
sounds like you'd hang out with him at
an investment company
at the bowling? No, it's Charles Schwab.
Oh, Charles Schwab.
I'd hang out with Chuck at the bowling alley.
I know Chuck.
We know a Chuck. He's a nice guy too.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He knows a lot more about recording things than I do.
He does. He's a good dude.
So Chuck Morgan was 43. He was a successful businessman. He was the president of his own escrow agency. What the hell's escrow anyway? I can never figure that out.
It's when they hold money for real
money
estate
for some reason,
transactions
right?
and stuff. Yeah. It's so that they hold, like, I'm not going to get into it. It's not complicated, but it's financial stuff, and I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, I'm not good with numbers or money.
Or anything.
So he was also a potential witness in a state land fraud case involving a known crime boss of the time.
Crime boss.
On March 22nd, 1977, he left his home in there, Tucson, Arizona, all the way to Tacoma, Philadelphia, and PA. Was that a song? What's that
That's
song?
Steve Miller.
Oh, that's right. So he was driving his two daughters off to school. After dropping them off, he vanished.
Oh.
Disappeared into thin air. Nobody knows what happened to
How
him.
come nobody disappears into thick air?
It's tough to disappear into thick air. It's too
Apparently.
thick. You get stuck. You get
can't
caught up in
disappear.
it.
People will see you.
So 3 days after his mysterious disappearance, he arrived home.
Oh.
He arrived back home.
He's home.
And his wife probably thought he was off running around with some
bimbo.
some ladies of the night.
Yep.
And but anyway, according to his wife Ruth, he was missing a shoe. He had a plastic handcuff around one ankle. He had his hands tied together.
Okay.
With a plastic zip tie.
Well, sometimes that happens at my house, but for completely different reasons.
It happened, yeah. You wander off, you come back all tied up, disheveled.
Consensual.
He couldn't speak, but with a pen and paper, he wrote down that he had been kidnapped and tortured, which sounds...
He couldn't speak.
To me, it sounds like an elaborate ruse by Chuck to cover up the fact that he was out doing some sexual escapade.
Yeah. It sounds ill thought out, actually.
Apparently, he also said that a hallucinogenic drug had been painted on his throat.
What?
That's what he said.
How do you paint something on someone's throat?
He claimed that this drug would either drive him insane or kill him if he ingested it.
So it's on his throat, but he can't. So that's why he can't talk.
He can't talk.
He can't eat anything either. I would have to imagine.
Yeah. He asked his wife, old Paul Ruthie, to move his car, but he didn't want them, in quotes, to know that he had returned home.
How's he telling her all this if he can't talk?
He's writing it all down.
Oh, he's got it writing it down.
He's got a little big pen and a little pad there, and he's
okay.
writing it all down. So he wouldn't tell her who they were. So apparently...
You figured he'd want to tell her who they were.
He was running from somebody. He also told her, of course, don't call the police.
Don't call the police.
Don't
No.
involve the authorities because the rest of the family will be in complete and utter jeopardy.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
So for a week,
Sounds very plausible.
Ruth, the loyal and gullible wife that she is, nursed Chuck back to health, by feeding him with an eyedropper.
Wow.
Because his throat was all messed up.
Dedication right there.
So before his voice returned, he began to allude to a secret identity, that he was leading some sort of secret life, that he was working as an agent for a federal government.
I've used that line on women too.
Was fighting organized crime. That reminds me of a story. One time when Mike and I and a couple of our other friends were down in Texas. We're down in old San Antonio, Texas.
What a wonderful town, that San Antonio.
It was a great town. And I think a lot of men in their early 20s did this.
Yeah.
Where they would feign a life. They would make up a different life of their own,
Yep.
and make up names.
Yep.
And
to try to impress women folk.
To try to impress women. So we're at a local establishment, hanging out, having fun.
Having a couple of adult beverages.
And we had a story all worked up before we even went in there.
Yep.
Didn't we?
Yes, we did. We were actually we were going to represent ourselves as a minor league hockey team.
Right.
And we did this so that we would have a reason, because none of us were from there.
No, and we were younger and athletic.
Yeah.
And
we wanted to wheel some chicks.
So we said we were going to tell people we play for the San Bernardino Thunder,
Which was a made up team, I think.
and we all had different names. So one of my friends, his name is we won't reveal his real name for the time being.
For the protection of the innocent.
But he went by the handle Frank Carpano. And for those of you that live in the area, Frank Carpano was a local sportscaster.
Frank Carpano.
But we're in Texas, so nobody knows Frank.
Nobody
down
knew
there.
who would that be, right?
So in the midst of talking to these young ladies, they were buying our story, hook, line, and sinker.
Everybody was down. They were ready to get some free tickets.
We're getting ready to go back to the hotel suite.
Yep.
And so I went up to Frank Carpano, and unbeknownst to me and not paying attention and aware of the situation I was in, and I called him by his real name.
So you single-handedly destroyed the ruse.
I ruined it.
So the girl caught on.
She caught on. She said, "Why did you just call him that?" And I said, that's his middle name.
And immediately they knew
He doesn't like to be called Frank. He likes to be called by his middle name.
We're all full of crap.
And then our story slowly began to disintegrate.
Slowly.
And we went home only with each other.
Rapidly devolved.
That's right.
Anyway.
Yeah. So
what gets back to Chuck here?
We're getting back to Chuck. So after his kidnapping, obviously he became justifiably paranoid.
Sure.
He didn't know what was going on. He began wearing a bulletproof vest every day. He also started driving his daughters to and from school. He informed the school that nobody else should be allowed to pick them up. 2 months after his initial disappearance, guess what?
What happened?
Chuck vanished again.
He went again?
Yep. Okay. Shortly before his second disappearance, he told his father that if anything were to happen to him, there was a letter he had written that would tell him who was responsible. That letter was never found.
So there was a letter explaining, and it was never found.
That's right. And this is where it starts to get even more weird.
How does it get weirder than that?
You can even imagine.
No.
So 9 days after his second disappearance, an unidentified woman called old Ruth and said, "Chuck is all right." I'm quoting now. And she referenced a Bible passage. Okay. Ecclesiastes 12, 1 through 8.
Ecclesiastes.
And I'm going to read it as it
Ecclesiastes is a class that you failed in college.
What is it?
It's Ecclesiastes.
That's not what it says here.
That's how you say it.
Oh. So the last C is silent?
It's not Ecclesiastics.
That's what it says, man.
That's a course in college.
All right. Here it is. Men are afraid of a high place and of terrors on the road. Remember him before the silver cord is broken and the golden bowl is crushed. Then the dust will return to the earth, and it was, and the spirit will return to God who gave it.
I have no idea what any of that
What does that mean?
No idea.
The Bible is good at putting quotes out there that sound ominous.
Sound very, yes.
But you don't know what the hell they mean.
Don't know anything. All subject to interpretation.
So 2 days later, Chuck was found, shot to death in the desert.
Uh-oh.
Despite the fact that he was found wearing a bulletproof vest. It's not
It didn't
funny.
work.
Why are you laughing? He had been shot once in the back of the head with a bullet from a .357 Magnum, which was lying beside his dead body.
So he was wearing a bulletproof vest, so he was shot in the back of the head.
That's right.
Got it.
So in his car, because there was an investigation,
Sure.
the police found a note that had directions to the crime scene written in his handwriting.
So he was going to meet somebody for some sort of surreptitious meeting.
Sounds like it. A pair of sunglasses was also found that did not belong to him.
Maybe he bought them on the way at a gas station. You ever buy gas station sunglasses?
He was, you know what he was doing? He was trying to buy those glasses with the mustache built in, like a little disguise.
So he didn't look. Yes.
So strangely, listen to this.
Okay.
Chuck had a clip. He had clipped a $2 bill inside of his underwear. And $2 bills are rare as it is. I'm not making this up. This is real. Written on the $2 bill was 7 Spanish names from the letters A to G. Okay. And Ecclesiastes 12 was written.
Was it the same with
the verses Bible 1 through 8 marked by arrows drawn on the bill's serial number.
So the same message that the woman called about
That's right.
was on his $2 bill. It was in his undies.
That's correct.
Interesting.
On the back of the bill, the signers of the Declaration of Independence were numbered 1 through 7. Also, a crude map was drawn, which shows several roads between Tucson and the Mexican border.
It sounds like a National Treasure movie starring Nicolas Cage. He would have to come in and decipher all this.
Yeah, what is that? National Treasure?
I just said that.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention to you. 2 days after Chuck's death, an anonymous woman spoke to an officer for the Pima County Sheriff's Department on the telephone. She called them. She was taunting them. She claimed that he was supposed to meet her at a local motel shortly before he died, and this must have been the
This
hooker.
is the woman that he was shacking up with.
She claimed that her name was Green Eyes. This is weird. This could be a movie.
I was going to say, this
could be a lifetime movie.
This sounds very strange, the whole thing.
So apparently Green Eyes was the same woman that called Ruth several days earlier.
Green-eyed lady.
She also claimed that at the motel, Chuck showed her a briefcase containing several thousands of dollars in cash.
Several thousand or several thousand?
Several $1,000.
Oh.
He said that the money would buy him out of a gang contract that had been put on his life. Apparently it didn't work.
Oh.
Despite the bizarre evidence,
That's some bizarre evidence.
authorities ruled that Morgan committed suicide. So,
Excuse me?
oh yeah,
He shot himself in the back of the head?
that's what they said.
Have you ever seen someone shoot themselves in the back of the head? That's hard to do.
Well, he had a bulletproof vest on. He couldn't shoot himself in the chest,
That's true.
right?
But in the back of the head.
But how could he do the back? Why would you do the back of the head?
You know, I suppose that there is a way you could do it if you wanted to make it look like you were murdered. Maybe this whole thing was a scam for him to commit suicide and then make it seem like he was murdered so that his wife could get like some sort of insurance settlement or something.
I don't know, but his wife, of course, Ruth believed her husband.
Poor Ruthie.
She thought he was being targeted, so she hired a guy named Don Devereaux.
Ooh, that's a cool name.
Yeah, because they both believed he was murdered. So, because the investigators thought the death was not a suicide.
Right.
3 weeks after his death, two men claiming to be FBI agents, possibly men in black, who knows, arrived at the Morgan home, and they told Ruth that they had to look through the house. And stupid Ruth,
she did it.
Apparently, she's not very bright. She let them in with no warrant or anything. She just let them rummage around the house.
No identification.
Nope. Well, they showed her a badge, but they quickly just flashed it.
Of course.
So she couldn't read it. They tore through her house.
That's what I do when I pretend to be a police officer.
It's unknown whether or not they actually found anything or not, but they left her panty drawer in dismay.
Disarray.
Disarray and dismay.
And dismay. Nice.
So, of course, they contacted the FBI agents and FBI, and they said, oh, we don't have any agents over there in the area.
I don't think I'd want to see inside of Ruthie's underwear drawer. It's probably not very nice.
I guess the long or short of it is, it's a mysterious, interesting story, to say the least.
That's a crazy story. And you know what? How come that's not more famous?
Well, it happened in the 70s. There were a lot of hallucinogens going around back then. So no one really knows. It's more than likely he was involved in some sort of, organized crime situation where he was either laundering money or he was scheming.
He was skimming
money off the top of some local crime boss, and he basically pissed somebody off. Yeah, because that stuff doesn't just happen to the normal everyday Joe. Usually, no. I mean sometimes,
but do you buy the initial kidnapping thing where he showed up at like if the organized crime group is going to kidnap you, you pretty much stay kidnapped.
Yeah, I don't see how he would have escaped. I think he may have
embellished.
Not embellished, but maybe staged that part of the story.
Yeah.
And
then eventually caught up with him.
It did catch up with him.
Poor Chuck.
And his hallucinogenic paste or whatever it was that was on his throat.
Why did he clip a $2 bill to his underwears?
I don't know. Have you ever seen the $2 bill? It's interesting.
I've seen $2 bills.
Do you see them in circulation anymore?
Every once in a while they'll pop up.
Yeah. How much are they worth now?
$2.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's interesting. I always thought the $2 bill was very was an enigmatic denomination of money.
Well, actually, I'm glad my son doesn't listen to this program because I gave him a John F. Kennedy 50-cent piece a while back, and he thinks it's worth a lot of money, and it's worth 50 cents. So hopefully he doesn't ever find out that it's
Do you know what a silver certificate is?
Was that a certificate that was in lieu of silver at some point?
So it was actually a paper money. But it actually said silver certificate on it, and if you looked at it, so you could use it as a regular money,
right?
But it said the bearer. I'm trying to remember this. The bearer of this note shall be paid in silver. So basically what you could do is you could take that silver certificate, bring it to an establishment, and you could cash it in for actual silver.
Well, isn't it true that all money up until the Nixon administration, I think it was, until we were taken off the gold standard,
that would have been FDR did that to
FDR.
Us. Yeah,
you could actually go with any money to a bank or to the National Reserve or someplace, Federal Reserve, I should say, and actually get gold for that money. So, like, whatever money was in circulation, there was actually gold to back that up. That is not the case anymore.
No, actually, and FDR made it illegal for people to own gold. Like,
really?
Over a certain amount, you could not own gold.
How did he do that?
Because he was a tyrant. That's why.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Anyway,
do you have any money
on me right now?
Well, in general.
I'm not telling you.
Are you a wealthy man?
No.
No?
Well, you know what? This program, I think, is gonna skyrocket at some point. Yeah. All it takes is the right person to hear the show. One person to hear the show or to tell somebody else about it, and then they hear the show, and then, we'll be world famous before you know it.
I gotta tell you, though, the listeners that we do have.
Oh, they're great.
Oh,
absolutely.
The most loyal people you'd ever want to know.
And it's true. And we hear from them on a regular basis, and we're really appreciative of everyone who listens to the program.
There's a lot of them out there, but just to make people feel special, there is somebody out in, I think it's Boardman, Oregon. Is it Oregon or Oregon?
It's Oregon.
They listen. They listen all the time. I can check it. I can go right online.
Do we know who they are?
I don't know who they are.
Well, thank you, whoever you are.
I don't know where they're listening. I don't know what they're doing when they're listening.
Send us an email from Borden, Oregon.
Hopefully they're enjoying it.
Oregon.
And if that's you out there, if you're getting this, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I find interesting about our listener behaviors. We get a lot of listens to our program when it first comes out, like the first couple of days. So that means a lot of people that are voracious. They want to devour the next episode of the TheEoNProject. But then there's a lull, and then right before we do the next episode, a few listens trickle in. So I'm not sure what that pattern indicates.
I've noticed that on Sundays it peaks.
Sundays,
as well.
yeah, a lot of people listen on Sunday, or they download it on Sundays.
The
for
Lord's
week.
Day.
I know some people listen to the program who travel a lot and they listen in their cars or things like that. So it helps.
Actually, the Sunday thing makes sense. You know, people get up early, they go to church.
Yep.
They listen on the way to church.
Yeah, and then they want to cleanse themselves of
Exactly.
of any adherence that
They
we've put on them.
accept the Holy Spirit, and then they get back in the car and go home.
Well, we talked about some mysterious things today. We're about out of time, and we did have some more that we'll probably save for another day. But this, I'm astounded by the amount of unsolved crimes that there are. There's literally thousands of unsolved crimes that happen all the time.
That's right.
And we never know what happens. There's a lot of mysteries out there.
A lot of mysteries.
That's why we do this
like
show.
My life is a mystery, and your life as well. And let's wrapping it up. And
yeah, just so everyone is aware, and don't panic, the website is still down.
Still down.
And the reason that it's down is because I know nothing about website maintenance, and our website sucked real bad, and I didn't like it, and I didn't feel it was well representative of this program. So if you would like to help out with the web management of this program, drop us a note.
Sure.
We do have a domain name, but we don't have a site. So I'm looking for options as to how we can move forward with a better site.
And of course, we're on the Twitter.
Yeah, we are on the Twitter all the time, interacting with some very famous people.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah, that has. And we did the one of the most popular programs that we did was the whiskey tasting.
Yes.
So I think we're going to go back. We're going to revisit a similar thing. We're going to do a local ale tasting.
Ale.
Beers. And
Lagers.
And we're going to do with local breweries. So if you're a local, aficionado of brews, microbrews, let us know.
Or you want to join us, let us know.
We'll put a list together, and we'll get the word out there, and we'll do that too at some point.
Maybe we'll rent a bus so that none of us have to drive.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I don't know how we're going to get this whole production team from the Eon Project on a bus, but we'll try. We got a lot of them.
Hey, be quiet back there.
Stop it.
Okay. So until next time, we'll be back again with a new and exciting episode. So just remember, the truth exists. Believe it.